Good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, so perhaps it's been a long week for some of you, but we got there in the end and got the weekend to look forward to. So I'm going to preview the happenings last night, the West Ham United Rapid Vienna game in the Europa. So we're going to kind of look at the game, see how it went. I was at the game myself, and I'm going to be joined by two guests. One of them you'll be probably familiar with, and one of them will be sort of coming on for the first time, but you've probably seen him with West Ham Fans TV fan cams in the past. So, Matt, how you doing?
Yeah, hello, mate. Thanks for letting me on. Great to be here, and looking forward to having a chat.
Great. And obviously, in the past, I've seen you on West Ham Fans TV fan cams. So, just going to show you a Twitter handle. Anyone wants to follow you.
Thanks,
So it's been a while, isn't it? We were out of lockdown, obviously. Things are beginning to get back to normal. I haven't gone back to the office as of yet, but HR was saying that from kind of maybe November, one or two times, maybe every other week, just come in. So those discussions are beginning to happen now. Been working from home for all that for a year and a half now, isn't it?
Nice.
So all that time, and I think you're working out in Mexico, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Long distance fan.
How's the weather there at the moment?
You know what? Always sunny, mate. Not gonna lie.
I tell you, we've had a really, really hot sort of summer as well, and it has been happening the last couple of years, to be fair, and even getting quite kind of I like all seasons. I mean, we don't get the snow anymore. I know that. I think everything's needed. A bit cooler now out there, looking at it, and I like it when it's a bit cool. When it's okay on holiday, but I don't like to work if it's too hot. And things like that, really. But anyway, thanks again for coming. And we've also got James, who I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with James. And he's also got his own channel now. So I'm just going to bring the details up for that. So everyone, please support the channel. Follow James on Twitter, and also the new channel E20 Zone, which I think, James, again, like us, is literally weeks old, isn't it? Not even probably too much. Very, very new channel, isn't it, that you started?
Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, mate. I must admit, I enjoyed last night's result even better. I did say 2-0 Jazz. I would tell you, mate, but you wouldn't believe me.
No, I mean you are very good with your tips, so that was absolutely bang on there, mate. And do you want to tell the viewers a few things about your channel, or what kind of things you're looking forward to do in the future, and what kind of ideas you've got?
What it is, it's basically like I'm just going to be doing sort of like player watch, so to speak, like watching our players and getting thoughts of the fans and etc. And just do a couple of vlogs and betting advice. I done one yesterday on Declan Rice to score first, and he stepped up trumps. So yeah, it's all good, mate.
Brilliant. Like I said, I went there yesterday. I got there quite early. Before we begin to talk about the game, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Glazewise. They supply sort of double glazing. So for your double glazing windows, doors, conservatories, reach out to Glazewise. It's kind of on the channel at the bottom. You can click the description and get in touch with those guys. And also I want to do a shout out to food banks, really. I met sort of John out there who's doing really, really good work out there. So let me just put some details on there. So yeah, I am supporting food banks. On match days, you can find them there a couple of hours leading up to the game. They're usually outside the aquatic centre, just outside before you get into the ground. So yeah, I went up there, met them. So as my kind of thank you, gave them a little bit of food to share out. As you know, Newham, it is one of the poorest boroughs in London, really struggling in lockdown and even now. So a lot of work goes behind the scenes that we don't know about. Despite what we say, some things about the owners, I was informed that they do a lot of work. They've helped them and continue to help them a lot of things they need. And leading up to Christmas, more work will be done, and we'll be hoping to promote them as we do now on the channel and help them with anything they need, really. So just wanted to mention that before we start with the game. Going to the game, yeah, I went there, got there a couple of hours early, big crowd. Vienna, I think, sold out their allocation. They were full of kind of noise, shall we say, quite excited. I mean, I went to Vienna 3 weeks ago, so I went to their ground, I met a few fans, and they're about half an hour away from the central Vienna, whereas Austria Vienna are more central, so it's about half an hour distance. Yeah, they're known as the Ultras, whereas Austria Vienna are kind of not as volatile as Rapid, shall we say. So yeah, hopefully our fans going out there will enjoy that trip. Really, looking at the lineups, we lined up 4-3-3, which I haven't seen in a while. So it looks like Antonio's in the middle, supported at either side of the flanks by Yarmolenko and Vlasic. In the middle, we've got Rice, Noble, and Benrahma. I would have played Alex Kralin instead of Noble, but obviously I'm not the manager, and he's doing a great job at the moment, so don't really want to sort of say too many criticisms of David Moyes. At the back, we had Creswell, Dupe, Dawson, and Johnson with Areola. So we had Fabianski in the last Europa game, and it's back with Areola again, really. So in that lineup, any surprises, Matt, for you, or do you think that's more or less what we could have done?
I guess you're happy that Areola started, because I know that you've.
I've been jumping up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. And at the end of the day, if we put him on loan, if we want him to sign, which I definitely think we need him to, he needs to play, because a guy that comes and doesn't play is not going to want to sign for us, you know. So I mean, I'm happy about that. I agree with you with Krul. Honestly, I think Krul should have started. I would have left Noble in, to be honest. I probably would have dropped Yarmolenko and left Benrahma up top, and would have started Krul there. And I was a little bit disappointed that Souček came on instead of Krul, because I think that Souček's been a little bit leggy. I mean, not that he's playing badly, you know, he's an absolute cavalier player, you know. But I do think that we just need to give him a break, especially with these international breaks that are hammering us right now, you know, with all the travelling, the games, and the intensity of these midweek games that we've got. So, I mean, I agree with you there. I would have started Krul. And like you guys said in the preview, it was essential to start Antonio, you know, and Rice. I mean, there's no other way out of it right now, you know. But one thing I will say, mate, is that remember a couple of years back, we would put out like a kind of B team or a second team, no? And we got hammered twice in the FA Cup by League One teams. I think it was, what was it, AFC Wimbledon, no? When we got done by AFC Wimbledon and we got done by Wigan. So if you look at how we are now, you know, we're putting out a second team and we're able to win Europa League games. How far have we come? You know what I mean? Look at the quality now that we have in the squad. Before we put out a second team in a cup and we get hammered, and now what we're doing, I mean, it's just all credit to Moyes, mate. You know, that culture of excellence that he's created, the high standards that everyone's living up to. You know, even the players that don't have regular game time come in, like a Ben Johnson, and arguably could be man of the match alongside Dawson yesterday. So, you know, all respect to Moyes and all respect to the players, mate.
Yeah, I think, like you said, okay, not as many players sometimes come to the club in the window. We understand that, but everyone who does come, certainly in the last couple of seasons, has been role model professionals, and perhaps that's what David looks at. He brings in really good people as well as good players. In the past, we've had characters who didn't really quite want to play for the club, you know. People like perhaps Chicharito, one or two others were a bit moody. Anderson just didn't want to put the effort in. Haller doing well now, but he was sulking half the time. But it's a lot of different things went on, and yeah, they're doing well wherever they've gone. But we're doing equally well with the players that we've got. And like you said, it's like a puzzle. Every piece coming in fits it perfectly, isn't it? Really, just need a left back and a forward, Matt. And I think we're going to be in good shape. We're going to be in good shape, I think, with that. James, with this lineup, any changes you would have liked, or you think it's okay what we started off with?
I wanted to see Krul, mate. I didn't understand why Souček got on the pitch, if I'm honest. The boy needs a rest and we're playing it for half hour. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Obviously, Areola was good to see him in goal. Obviously, right back Johnson played, which is the only right back that's fit at the minute, so that's what picks itself. Then obviously, Craig Dawson, who I thought was brilliant, and Diop, who I thought was decent at the back. Cresswell, as I agree with you, Jazz, I've been calling it for years now, saying the same thing as you are. Need a left back at this club, mate. Do you know what I mean? And we've only got one left back who can actually defend, so. Yeah, and then obviously Noble coming in. Yeah, I would have gone with Krul myself. I think Krul should play. And Rice, who was world class, mate. He's world class. We've got a world class player on our hands.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, definitely.
And then obviously Benrahma played. Maybe I wouldn't have done. Would have saved him for Brentford, but I thought he played okay. Vlasic, I don't see a £30 million player there, mate, if I'm honest. And then
No,
obviously Yarmolenko, who's not worth 30 quid. So, yeah.
Yarmolenko is obviously, again, in the past, recruitment mistakes, getting players on the wrong end of it, late 20s, injury prone. So not very good there, really. Noble, yeah, he was okay. Yeah, obviously the best has gone, isn't it now? So last season, surprised to see him in the League Cup game, but he managed to get through most of it, I think. Lucky not to give away a penalty in that game. Here again, I think it's David Moyes just trying to give him some European games at home, a chance to lead out the lads and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think the lineup was okay. Fairly strong bench, like you said. They lined up through, was it 4-2-3-1, which they played in the league like that. The last Europa game, they were 4-2-2, really. No, 4-4-2 they were last time. Again, I mean, we did do the show looking at them, but yeah, there's no famous players at the club, not many internationals. Second from bottom in the league, second last season, so I'm not sure what's gone wrong there. Yeah, bought a lot of fans, and obviously we're a big club, and when you play, you're kind of up for it. Yeah, they kind of went for it a bit more than I thought, because if you remember, they lost to Genk with a last-minute goal. So, because I was thinking when Europa started, teams playing West Ham, they're going to sit back and just go for a 0-0 draw, nick a 1-0, but they were trying to make things happen. But then, in terms of capability, I don't think they're really playing, in good form. And I don't think the quality is really there with them, really. In terms of action, I mean, the game we started on the front foot, and there was a header from Rice, wasn't it? Literally 6 minutes only, and then kind of hit the post, didn't he? Good free kick, right post. And I know that we love Rice, and just a bit of goals, and I think he's getting frustrated as well. He does want to add that thing to his game, really, in terms of goals.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then God knows what his value will be. But he certainly is getting better and better. And like you said in interviews, he's so happy to be here. He loves playing for the manager, the backroom team, the camaraderie. And he said it's just so good coming into training every day. Really looking forward to it. And only things can better, really. So, yeah, Rice hit the post. 27 minutes, there's a chance for Dawson. From a corner kick from Creswell, again hit the left post. So we thought it's going to be one of those things, really. So yeah, hit the post twice, and then literally 2 minutes later, 29 minutes, Antonio, kind of lovely assist, and became the provider. Slipped in Declan, who again, good for Declan to get in the box, and he made it 1-0. I mean, in terms of penalty takers, I mean, I don't even know who our penalty takers are at the moment. Matt, would you give it to Declan? Or, I mean, I was thinking Creswell, but I'm not sure now either. Who do you think?
I think Declan, mate. I mean, like you said, I mean, I love the fact that in the interview after the game, he said that him and Noble made an agreement that he would push on more, and now he's getting the taste for goals, So that's good to see, because that will certainly shut up a lot of people that say he's a sideways passing merchant, But if they want to keep saying that, that's no problem, because it means less people will be interested in him and he'll stay longer. But I would leave him, mate. He's the future of the club. I mean, it's someone that we need to build around to keep him at the club, and to keep as a club, no one bigger than the club, but he is a key point for our future. So give him that responsibility. He'll take it on his shoulders. He reminds me a lot of a Noble, that kind of centered, decent personality, good in the dressing room, positive influence, and I don't think he'll let us down. I mean, everyone can miss a penalty, mate, but I mean, I really think that it should be Declan, because Antonio is good, but Antonio can have his occasional moments, and he's just for the age, give it to Declan.
I think so. I think I was a little bit young to watch this player, but I can see a bit of Billy Bonds in Rice, and someone agreed with me. Said, "Yeah, I mean, he gets about the pitch, leader, doesn't shrug from anything. So a bit of Billy Bonds there." James, in terms of penalty takers, who do you think should it be? You think going forward?
Rice is the captain, and Rice is amazing, mate. He's world class, in my opinion. He always has been since he's played in the shirt. But I don't know. Ben Rama hasn't missed a penalty, mate. So I'll give him a go. Maybe Cresswell. If Souček's on the pitch, he used to take him for Slavia. Give him a chance. Do you know what I mean? So, There's a few, but what it is, we've got to nail that down as soon as possible. So whenever there is a penalty and someone blasts it through the goalkeeper, like I just think we're very sort of hot and cold with penalties at the minute. We've got a lot of players who they score one and they miss one. Do you know what I mean? So we need someone like a Mark Noble reboot, basically.
It is, and what I've noticed, last 2, 3, 4 years, I think the number of penalties that are being scored are going down. I reckon it's 50-50 these days. It's no longer a huge advantage. And when you used to watch the footage from the 70s, 80s, the goalkeepers they used to try, they used to just pretend and fall. Didn't even used to move, half of them. But now we've seen a lot of naughty things. I think the Man United one, I know I might be picking, I think one of their players was encroaching in the area before the ball was kicked. Perhaps he moved a bit on the line. I'm not sure. So certainly, and the goalkeepers are getting bigger, aren't they? 6'5", 6'6", 6'4". But I think if you're a professional, you should really be scoring or at least hit the target. I think we saw Bruno miss, didn't we? I think a bit of pressure from Ronaldo, perhaps. I think Harry Kane is one of the good ones, isn't he? I think he really wellies it and it goes in right in the corner, and you got no chance for that. I think that's the way to hit it. I think Ray Stewart was on one of our channels last week, wasn't he? What a great penalty taker he was. Julian Dix, very similar style to Ray Stewart, really quite lucky. So McAvenny used to say, bloody hell, I couldn't take penalties the first time round because of Ray. And now when I came sort of a little bit later to the club, then Julian would let him take it. Because he used to have a go. Because in 1986, McAvenny lost out on the Golden Boot to Lineker, and he said half his bloody goals were penalties. But there you go with that. One thing I've noticed, especially in this goal and in a lot of the games, is in the past, Antonio would have perhaps, and a lot of other players in that position would have gone for a shot and it would have gone over the bar. What we're doing now is we're looking up, aren't we? And if someone's in a better position, we're sensibly passing to player who's in a better position. And I think that's so much clever play, common sense, and looking up rather than just shooting when the shot's not really on. And there's a better player there in a good position.
I think that's the training though that they've been doing though, Jazz. I think the training, like that's. I agree with you there. Amount of times Antonio would have had a shot there, and he would have gone over the bar or something. But I just think it's the training that they're doing. Also, I think they're working, and the spirit of the camp is so good at the minute. Everyone's vibing, and everyone's sort of. There's no egos at the club, and everyone's in it together, so to speak. So yeah, I think I've noticed that also. They're looking up and they're playing as a team rather than individuals.
I definitely think the formation's helping it as well. You know, but before we were playing 5 at the back, which does give you a little less options occasionally. But with the 4-2-3-1 that we generally play, or kind of a variant, because the 4-3-3 is basically a variant of a 4-2-3-1 in the offensive transition, So now, for example, Antonio, who's leading the line, knows that he not only has 3 players behind him to support him, plus whatever fullback gets up, but 3 quality players. You know what I mean? Because now look at the quality of the players that we have, behind that front man. So, I mean, I think that's been a big difference. And like James says, the training, I mean, you can't take it away. And I feel sad for Antonio, to be honest, because he's becoming a quality player at the end of his career. If he'd have done this, if he'd have got this 5 years ago, I mean, maybe he wouldn't have had to go to Jamaica to try and get regular international appearances, and he could have actually gotten into the England setup.
I think he got into one of the squads many years ago, didn't he, Antonio? Nothing more than that. And West Ham not being a Super 6 team, so-called, our players have to do a little bit more to get in there. I mean, sometimes players, they move to a big club, then they get selected, and they don't if they remain at other clubs, so it's a bit odd. Going back to Antonio and not buying another striker, James, do you think there is someone out there in January that we can buy that is pretty similar to Antonio, do you think?
There's millions of players out there, mate. It's just whether our owners are prepared to pay the money to kind of bring them to the club. And that's the $1 million question. To me, we need to bring someone in. Because obviously, Vlasic, I don't want to knock Vlasic because he's new, but he's not cutting it at the minute. And he's not doing anything to sort of pull up any trees to say, like, if Antonio went down, Vlasic comes in and does a job. Do you know what I'm saying? So we do need someone, mate. It is important. Because I do think in the second part of the season, if we're in the last 16 in the Europa League, go and get a striker, go and get a left back in January, and we could win the thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think Daka looked good before Leicester bought him. I thought he looked really exciting.
Yeah.
Had a good sort of technique and a lot of good things that he's played at that would suit him to the Premiership. Armstrong was a slightly different player, a good option on the bench. Again, he's playing for a team that don't attack a lot, so I feel a bit sorry for him at Southampton. But there are a few there's a few. I mean, Brentford went up, so they kept Tony. Maybe would have gone in for him if they didn't go up. I think you got to look at the lower leagues. I'm sure there's more talent out there if you keep looking and bring them in. But I'm sure. I mean, we got a new recruitment person, isn't he, joining literally today? I think. So hopefully,
Rob Newham.
Yeah.
I definitely think we need to buy someone who's not a carbon copy of Antonio, but at least at this moment, a similar style of player. Because at the end of the day, our system's so defined right now. You know, our system is we need somebody who can come and do the same job. Because, for example, if we put in a short, aggressive box in the box, you know, it wouldn't work in a 4-2-3-1 system. So, I mean, right now, you know, if you ain't broke, don't fix it. So, I mean, then if we're going to buy someone, they know whoever comes in is going to play second fiddle to Antonio, at least this season. So, I mean, like you say, we need to get someone in maybe for the future. Or at least that someone comes in knowing that they are going to be playing maybe cup games, Europa League games for the short future. And then possibly, you know, start to become more of a competition in the 2022-23 season.
I think so, and I think we were quite close to getting that left back at Ajax, but because he was in South America, they said that it was difficult to get that in place. But the windows, you know what the window's all about. I don't know why, but all the deals happen in the last 48 hours. I think I don't know what it is. Maybe players often wait. If you approach a player in an earlier window, he might say, "No, I'm waiting for a certain other club to come in for me," and if it doesn't happen, then they end up going back to Vlasic. I think James has got a good point. I'm not concerned. It's the amount of money that we've, as an example, I think I was saying that for the same amount of money, we could have bought Eduardo and Armstrong together, both of them for the same amount of money that we're going to pay Vlasic, you know, with the add-ons. He doesn't look better than what we've got, isn't it? I think, James, isn't it? Yeah.
And what it is, though, Jazz, it's not just that. It's that we need him to hit the ground running, because if one of them goes down, then he's going to have to come in. He's going to have to perform, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? We can't, with us, we can't hang about and wait for people to sort of bed in. Like, we need these players to come in and to do a job for us. Like, and that's an issue. Obviously, what Matt was saying about a striker, for me, Ivan Toney's the man, mate. He's the man who we need. Who we should have. He's the replica of Antonio, I think.
Definitely.
And I think if next summer, if we went out there and went right, if we was just stamp his card and say, right, it's 50 million or 45 million, go and get Tony, you've got him for the next 10 years, and he'll be great.
I think talking about England, he perhaps in the future will get an England call up the way he's improving. So that might not be too far away, I think.
I mean, I just want to say, I have faith in Vlasic, I'm going to say. I mean, I agree with you guys, he's not hit the ground running, but I think if you look back from Fornals started real slow, a lot of criticism, and like Gaza just put up there, when Fornals came on, look at how he held up the ball, and we looked a lot more comfortable in possession when Fornals came on. Owen, look how we criticized Corey. And to be honest, I think it's completely unfair that he didn't get at least a look in for the England team, the late England squad, you know, because a lot of guys there were chosen on reputation or the club that they play for. And I think if Bam's got a chance at Leeds, I think Bowen should have got a chance from us. Also, Ben Rama, look how long it's taken to get going, and finally we're seeing. So I agree with you guys. Right now, with the amount of competitions that we're looking competitive in, we need him to hit the ground running. But at the same time, I do think he's going to come good. Would I pay 30 million? No. But I do think that now he's here, I think maybe give him a few, maybe January, and I think he'll come good. Because at the end of the day, who are we going to play as a striker? I mean, to be fair, right now, if Antonio's not playing, for me it has to be Bowen. For that intensity, for the press. I mean, that guy has 3 lungs and 2 hearts. You know what I mean? That guy just doesn't. I mean, and so I mean, especially with that intensive press that we get up top, you know, and if Bowen can get that little bit of calm that Antonio developed, because one thing I will say about Bowen, especially last year, half of the time on the box, wouldn't bring his head up, and he would smash the shot against the shins or the legs of the player in front of him. You know what I mean? So I mean, if he can just keep developing, like James was saying, with that training that comes from Moyes, get that little bit more finesse, take an extra touch, maybe a cutback or something, and he can get that in. I think Bowen will be a good option there as a secondary striker.
Yeah, I think Klopp's been looking at him, and we know why he would fit that Liverpool high pressing game that you would see. But going back to the game, after Rice scored, yeah, there wasn't much else. I think they had a shot over the bar after about 38 minutes, Petrovic. Didn't really get close. I don't think the goalkeeper was really tested. Second half is a bit the same. We did a few substitutions. Then we had that big penalty thing after 69 minutes, I think it was, where he gave it and then he had a look at it and then he didn't give it. And when I had a look on the screen when I got back home, God, it's close, isn't it? Has he touched him? Has he not touched him? It looks like he's dived, isn't it? That's what's put him off a little bit, I think.
I think he fell over his own foot, Jez, if I'm honest. I think he did. Well, he hit his other foot. He's gone over. But nah, I thought that'd be incredibly soft to give that. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, that's as thin as you like. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. So not for me. Definitely right decision.
I agree,
think
mate.
that was the only way they were really going to score. It looked like on the night, penalty or set piece or something like that. Really. Going back to Bowen again, he's not quite getting in the goals, is he? He's not quite finishing. It's just not happening for him at the moment in regards to that. Do you think it's just one will go in and he'll be back online again, or do you think there is a concern to his game that he doesn't score like perhaps Fornell sometimes used to a lot, maybe last season, the year before that? So Matt, what do you think about Bowen's finishing ability at the moment?
No, I definitely, mate. I definitely think he needs to improve it without a doubt. I've said it since last year. I think that, like I just mentioned, he smashes too many shots without bringing his head up, and I think that's just something he can develop. I mean, that for me doesn't concern me particularly because we're a team of progress, I mean, as much as we're in the glory days right now, we're not the finished product, and when we do need to keep bringing in new players, like I said, the left back, the striker, when Moyes gets the team he wants. And I have faith that Bowen will come good in that aspect. But at the end of the day, his technique is not up to 15 a season goal striker. I mean, I think he'll be lucky if he gets 10. And so I think that's one thing. When we had Lingard, for example, take an example, that's something that Lingard, you can see. Look at the goal he scored against us. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more quality. So I think if Bowen can really focus on that and pick that up, I mean, Price would be a hell of a player for us. And just quickly with the penalty, I agree. Shouldn't have given it. I got a lot of flack on Twitter for saying that Zuma's wasn't a foul on Ronaldo. Because if you look, Ronaldo stubbed his foot and started diving before Zuma's arm touched him. I think it was the same thing. Nowadays, I think players are starting to dive maybe just a second before the contact hits. I think that's where the VAR is picking up on them. So I mean, if they wait for the contact before going down, if he'd have waited there, I think he would have. If he'd have waited half a second more, I think the penalty would have been given.
Yeah, I think in real time it's so difficult to see that, isn't it? You got to stop it and stop and start. It's very hard for the referees. James and Bowen's finishing ability at the moment. What do you think, mate?
It's not a case of if he scores; it's a case of when. As I've always said, I've got no doubt this geezer will start scoring goals for us. But the thing is, last night's miss was a bit of a howler. He should have buried that. And if he's our backup striker and he's not scoring goals, then we've got problems, haven't we, gents? To be honest, do you know what I mean? He needs to start hitting the back of the net. But I've got every faith in him, mate. I think he looks better this year. Bowen looks sharper. He looks quicker on the turn. And I think it will come. He's a striker. He's a natural born striker. So when he used to play for Hull, that's where he used to play. And I've got every doubt. I've got every confidence that he's going to be brilliant for us this year.
I think everyone has gone up a notch from last season, say 10% in fitness and looking sharp. So they're doing even better. Bench is looking better. Just kind of, if you really have to moan, I'd like to see maybe one more player from the youth coming up this season would be nice. I don't really, hands up, I don't follow the under 23s. I don't know what we've got. I know a few of the boys have gone out on loan, kind of Coventry, people like that. So it'd be good for someone to. I think one of the strikers looks good. I think there's a centre back, Baptiste. I think looks good. I think. So I don't know if Matt, you follow any of. Do you know anyone coming up?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, mate, I mean, I would love a new striker to come through. You know, like we're saying, what better to have a young striker come through the ranks and fill that space? But unfortunately, you know, we've seen it with Xander Silva. That unfortunately, I mean, I know he had a few complications with a obstructive bowel or something that went wrong. You know.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mipo that obviously hasn't, you know, quite made that jump up, and the new guy Okoflex. That I mean, he's our next hope. But I mean, I would love for someone to come through, especially a striker. You know, those key positions like striker, centre back, centre midfielder like Coventry. I mean, I think if it was me, I wouldn't have sent him out on loan. I would have gotten him more involved in the cups, you know, and given him a chance to learn from Noble, because like with Rice's interview, he said playing alongside Noble, training alongside Noble, just being around Mark Noble, you know, is something that is so beneficial to his development. So I would have liked that Coventry could have had that opportunity. But then again, I understand the need to get professional football, because at the end of the day, we know that under 23s, under 18s football is a huge step up to professional, even if it's League One, League Two, or Championship, you know. So I think they sent him out to get a bit of rough and tough. But yeah, I would love. Yeah. I mean, let's see if Okoflex can come through.
And James, another player just came to my mind. Is what were your thoughts when James Cullen, for example, left the club? And I think he's doing okay, playing for Ireland as well. You think we should have kept him, or?
Conor Coventry was a better player, mate, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? And I'm a bit gutted that Conor's gone to Peterborough, but I can understand it if Crowell's come in. Crowell can't even get on the pitch, mate, so I don't know what chance Conor would have had. So, yeah, it's one of them ones at the end of the day. I think it's a work in progress, and it's not about now, it's about 2 years down the road. When I look at us 2 years ago, we was going out of the League Cup game against Oxford 4-0, got beat by Wimbledon away, and look at us now. It's just night and day, mate, with us, really. And I just see a lot of progression. Obviously, if the youth players don't make it, then it's no be-all and end-all. But I do think a couple of them will do. Like they need game time. They need to go out on loan, and like what Odebecky's done is the right move. He's gone to Huddersfield. Connor's gone to Peterborough, which I didn't want to happen, but I understand it. Get them all out on loan, and then you can assess what they're really all about. Do you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of them are in the youth setup and think they've cracked it when they really haven't. Do you know what I mean? They haven't cracked it yet until they get into the first team, and they should be looking at Declan Rice as a inspiration, really. So yeah.
I mean, going back to Gaz's comment, do you agree how set pieces have somewhat dried up, perhaps?
Get Bowen off set pieces. I mean, Creswell, I mean, look at the combination. I mean, when you see Creswell put a ball in, and you know you've got a Dawson, an O'Connor, a Zuma in the middle, I mean, for me, I see a corner coming in from Bowen, doesn't give me anything. But when I see Creswell on the ball, and I see one of those guys in there, anything can happen. And look what happened yesterday, you know. So I think definitely set pieces are something that we need to get more involved in, bringing up the quality. Because with the centre backs and adding Souček, adding Rice, you know, adding Antonio, you've got a lot of options in the box these days. You know, more than I think we've ever had. So I mean, it's essential that we get this up. You know.
Perhaps that's why Souček is looking a bit flat at the moment. Slightly, he got loads of goals, didn't he, from set pieces, and so perhaps he's a little bit leggy from the Euros. Perhaps still. I mean, Rice is a machine, isn't he? He never gets tired, but every player's different. So maybe we need to take him out now and again and come back and freshen him up. I think really. I mean, going back to the game. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was going to say, talking about youth players, mate. I mean, definitely all credit to Ben Johnson. Apart from the penalty, you know, that we talked about that got overruled. I think he had an absolutely brilliant game. And I mean, he's still young, still 21. Got Soufal in front of him that obviously is immense. Fredericks has been another player that it was a shame that he got injured because you know, he started to pick up, you know, ever since they started playing him on the wing a couple of games last season, you know. And I was really impressed with him because I was very critical of him before. But I mean, what better example of the academy. Ben Johnson comes in, wherever you put him, whether it's left back, right back, he fits in. Right now he's the perfect squad player. Doesn't get regular game time, comes into the team and does a great job. So I mean, he's still young enough. Give him 23, 24. If we can keep hold of him, keep him happy, I think we've definitely got a really good young player for the future.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with Matt on that. I think Ben gets a lot of criticism because sometimes he plays on the left hand side. He's not a left back. People got to understand he's not a left back. And when people say, "Oh, you got Ben there and he's doing the job and everything else," and he plays all right on left hand side. He's not a left back, mate. And when he plays right back, I've always said he looks a better player. He looks completely different to how he is on the left hand side. So, yeah. I agree with Matt there. I think Ben done really well last night because he's been getting a bit of flack. Like people say he should have been out on loan and all that. I disagree. I think out of the two, I think he's better than Fredericks for me. But that's a different story. But yeah, I think he's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the game, we made it 2-0, 93rd, 94th minute goal from Ben Rama. James, what did you think about the goal?
Standard Ben Rama, mate. He shimmies to the right and then bends it into the far corner. Yeah, it was. It needs to be done because we were struggling. Do you know what I mean? We were struggling to put them away. But yeah, at the end of the day, mate, good goal from him. It'll do his confidence a world of good. It will do because the more he scores, the more confident he gets. And I do like the way when he cuts inside and he's 1-on-1 with a defender, that little shimmy and then shot into the corner, that's his sort of speciality. And if we can get that out of him, then he's going to get 10, 12 goals this season easily.
That bet you've had, is that 10 league goals, was it?
10 league goals, yeah.
10 league goals.
Yeah.
So Matt James put a bet on 40-1 he got for that if Ben Rama scores 10 goals in the league.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is. I've got every faith in him. I don't know why, but I've just always had every faith in him. I just see a player there who, if he can just, if you give him the ball, I fancy him to make something happen. Like every time he gets the ball, and there's not many players who can do that really in football in general. Do you know what I mean? They get the ball past it, and you got goal scorers, and you got someone who's like creative, and I think he's got all three himself. And like I say, I just think that goal might springboard him on there to say, you know what, I can do something. I can score in Europe. It's only going to benefit us as a club, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I think so. Again, yeah, we got the job done. People are in really good spirits outside the ground. Just wanted to speak a little bit about, I don't know what you guys saw on your screens, sort of back home. There was a lot of things going on in the crowd where they were, the Vienna fans. A lot of things were being thrown onto the pitch. And as far as I know, none of the press have picked up on this. If it was us, I reckon it would have been all over Sky. I think it was out of order what they were doing. I think perhaps Rice went near them. I think when he scored, loads of things were being thrown. A lot of things happened after the game. Like I said, some of our fans were kind of, it wasn't very nice. I don't know what you saw back home. Did you? Were any of the channels talking about it or not? Or?
Well, basically what they were saying was it was just getting out of hand there. Obviously, you see everything, all the coins flying and all that, and all the missiles going. But what I can't understand is there were some of the missiles that were going over from Rapid Vienna, and some of them was like, how the hell have they got them in the ground? Like, they must have just literally had them wrapped around their body or something. Because there was like, some of them were like water cans and things like that that were just thrown over. How the hell have they got that through the gate, basically? But yeah, it's bad, mate. It's bad. And I think the next game really over there should be played behind closed doors and just have away fans only. That's what it should be.
Yeah. There's a lot of pent-up aggression, from people that haven't been able to travel. A lot of guys that have been waiting for this in different ultras groups, around Europe. And so they're, it's like anything, when you've got that pent-up aggression that you've not been able to get out, and then you finally get the chance to get out, And I mean, we just got to be careful, At the end of the day, we've got to be careful because, like you said, Jazz, the press pick up on us more than anyone else, obviously because of our history in the 80s, etc. So we've got to be careful because at the end of the day, we don't want any problems, especially, 6 points out of 6, like Rice and Notes said, we want to win the group, especially with the guys coming down from the Champions League. You know, we've got to get on and just let nothing stop us. And any nonsense from the crowd, if it's from those guys, no problem. Because I saw also in the Sparta Prague and Rangers game, there was also some problems as well. So, I mean, I don't know what nonsense went on there, but let's keep ourselves out of it and just focus on the football. Because at the end of the day, the football was good enough to focus on for once.
I think you're right, and it's just sad that, especially in the European games, a bit of crowd trouble has come back, and I think things happened at the Leicester game, the home game they had in the family stand. It was all kicking off. It's not nice to see, but I expect it now. Even when we travel there, a few things are going to happen. I think some police people were hurt last night, I think. It's not nice to see, and it's just there wasn't enough police there at the ground. Not enough for me.
But it has to do with the LDCC, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, because what it is, they can't fund the policing. Well, they won't fund the policing, so it's down to them. So yeah, that's the reason why there weren't a lot of police there last night. But it's bad, mate.
So, man of the match, Matt, did you think about it?
Listen, I would go between Dawson and Johnson, but I would personally give it to Johnson. As a young kid, I think he deserved it. I think Dawson also. I mean, to be honest, I'm really happy to see Dawson alongside Diop. I want to just quickly mention Diop. I think since Zuma's come in, and he's got maybe a role model, a fellow Frenchman, you know, I think Diop has stepped up and seen that he needed to step up a level. Like we talked about, this culture of excellence, you know, that Moyes has created. And I think he's gone to himself and gone, oh shit, this is what a real high quality French pushing on the national team centre back looks like. Let me get myself in order, you know. So I think Diop had a good game, and I think Diop and Dawson actually look well together, because Dawson's heading ability makes up for what I consider Diop's biggest weakness, which is in the air. I think Diop's weakness is sometimes poor. His heading's a bit poor. And I think they worked well together as a team. So, I mean, I do want to mention those three specifically. And Dawson, has gone from hero to then massive criticism. And then, so I think he played well, but definitely to Ben Johnson. There's no better sign of a good squad when players who are not playing regularly come in and step up to the plate. That is a sign that everything is in the right place.
Yeah, what about you, James? Any players stand up for you?
I thought Dawson was phenomenal, mate. I really did. I thought he done really well. Diop, I agree with Matt. I think Zuma comes in. Them two next season could be the two starting centre halves, in my opinion. Yeah, I just thought I'll give it to Dawson, mate. I thought he was top class.
Yes, I think it's a good headache to have, isn't it? When you perhaps change your team around for cups and the players do well, it makes you think that with the league game coming up, shall I move one of them in there? So it's a good headache to have.
Jazz, can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. What happens when we get to the knock? Because I'm saying what, when, not if. Okay, when we get to the knockout stages, what do we do? Because remember the dilemmas of Arsene Wenger in the FA Cup with the kids and the B team getting to the final. Did he then bring back all the stars to guarantee the game, or did he continue with the B team that done so, or the second team that done so well to get there? What would you do, Jazz? Would you continue our second team, or would you then bring out the stars and the strength?
No, I'd obviously take each game as it comes, but we definitely do want to win something. Me, as an example, I started following the club. My first memories are 1983. So obviously my dad saw 75, 80, 81, a couple of good things happening there. I've not seen anything, nor you two have not seen anything. So I think we've got to play our strongest team. So David's good. He puts out the team that he thinks will win the game. He doesn't want to throw the game or anything like that, like perhaps Sam Allardyce used to do, one or two other managers. So again, put out a team that you think are going to win. And like you said, as the opposition in class gets harder, then those good players will come back in, I think. So at the moment, we're managing to handle this group really well. We're top of the group. We got 6 points, scored 4 goals, let in none. And it's quite important to win the group. You go straight into the last 16. And I know anything can happen, but it looks like we're quite comfortable at the moment, and hopefully we should stay top, I think. So, yeah, I think, put out a winning team, isn't it, Matt, for every game? You know, obviously, we're going to play Man City in the League Cup. I do want to win every game. Bit unfortunate after Man United that we got City in the draw. It's just one of those things. So I think, let's go for it. Yeah, I think we should go for it.
As Don would say, it's fixed. As Don would say, it's fixed. And more I believe in. more I believe in.
I thought we were going to get City in the first round, mate, but then it happened this game, and then you see Liverpool getting Preston and things like that. Arsenal always get lucky draws, you know. It is hard, really. So I think play a good team, really. So got Brentford coming up the weekend, so we will be reviewing that match in the up and coming days. So, any other final comments from me, James, before we wrap it up?
Good performance last night. Long may it continue. And what I'm liking is the rotation he's doing. He's spot on with his rotation at the minute, Moyes, I must admit. He's getting it done. He's getting the job done. And we're looking very professional in what we're doing. So 2-0, job done, move on. And that's where it should be at West Ham. So, roll on Brentford. Big game Sunday. And we need a win for the international break. So, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? Final thoughts, mate?
Definitely, mate. I agree with James there. I think it's essential to get that win at Brentford. Without a doubt, like he says, this is professional, and I keep repeating myself, but I do put it down to this culture of excellence that we've got. And I think that finally we've got with Moyes that what we expected with Bilic, because we all expected when Bilic came in that we'd be an organised, hard to beat, fit team, and he never gave us that. You know, never gave us that. And I think that finally Moyes has done that. And I mean, all respect to him, especially after, how he was treated, and it's absolutely brilliant. Like I say, brilliant game management in terms of who he selects. Still with the substitutions, would say my only area of opportunity that sometimes I think he could be a bit more proactive instead of reactive with substitutions in general. But I mean, that's just picking at little nitbits, But the Brentford game's massive. Absolutely massive. I like James said about Ben Rama, the quality he has. I mean, without a doubt, he's our best one-on-ones in the club, without a doubt. So I hope that we let him loose against Brentford, and he's got a point to prove, and that we can really step up, because Brentford are on form. They've got a good manager. They're motivated. They're looking like the Leeds of last year, So we need those points because we need to consolidate the league position, because to be honest, I think we're a little bit lower than we'd like to be. And we do need to get back up to that top 6 or around the top 6. So we can maintain it, just to give us that little bit of confidence and a little bit more freedom, because I feel that if we keep hovering around 8th, 9th, 10th, I think that might affect how Moyes selects teams in the Cups and in the Europa League, So I think if we can get up comfortable around 6 again, I think that will give Moyes a little bit more freedom in the Cup. So, but at the end of the day, mate, we're walking in Wonderland, mate. I mean, it's absolutely massive, and we are fucking massive right now.
Yeah, we are. But Matt, it's been a pleasure having you on. James as well. And
thanks, mate.
Yeah, well, it's a new channel, West Ham Reunited, so we are trying to gather a good team, including yourselves as guests, and we will be obviously. Hopefully, you'll be helping us out regularly. We'll be reviewing the Brentford game in the up and coming days, and then obviously post-match will probably on Monday, I think. So again, every show we got different people coming on, so hopefully that's what the viewers want. So Matt, all the way from Mexico, I want to say thank you for your time, and welcome to the West Ham Reunited family, my man. So you'll definitely be working a lot more with you. And James is a regular part of the furniture. So James, thanks, mate. I really appreciate that. I know everyone's running around middle of the day. So thank you for your time, everyone. And take care.
No worries, mate.
Have a great day and a nice weekend. And Brentford, Sunday, so back to the ground again, really. So brilliant.